Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Reginald Atkinson.
I'm aware that I rely on visual comedy.
This is hell.
Where you, with almost no words, get the grasp of the audience.
Right, quiet, please.
It's a great pleasure tonight to introduce him not as Mr. Bean, but as himself.
Please welcome the man behind the mask, Rowan Atkinson.
He's hugely popular internationally. Yes, it is bizarre, actually. But I suppose in Britain I am pretty well known.
He's known all over the world, from Basingstoke to Bangkok. He's hailed as the master of visual comedy.
But I quite liked introducing a lot of very visual, slapsticky sort of comedy into it.
Out of this combination of talent has emerged a young man who's been called Britain's greatest comedy hope since John Cleese.
His physical humor, what he does with that face.
A face that is now very much his fortune. The comic with the elastic-sided face, he's been called.
Monsieur... Hein? Comment? Vous permettez. Hulot.
Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, which was a famous Jacques Tati movie of, I think, from the early 50s or late 40s, and it was a seminal moment in my life. It was a turning point because he opened a window onto a world of visual comedy which I'd never looked out on before.
To me, you are very similar in your comedy to Jacques Tati, the famous Frenchman.
But Jacques Tati had a sort of a wonderfully sort of real and more low-key, less sort of acrobatic, less of a clown and more of a character, really. And it was quite different, really, to the traditional sort of silent comedians like Chaplin or Stan Laurel or Buster Keaton or Harold Lloyd. So, I remember when I was younger, I used to watch those Norman Wisdom films incessantly.
But then, who were the influences on you?
I suppose Peter Sellers, undoubtedly, in terms of film.
Shut up!
I remember an old John Cleese monologue about psychiatrists. I think it was psychiatrists. Shh. Which he was speaking in a funny voice, and he suddenly says, "This makes me very irritated," and he just picked out the word irritated. I think John Cleese is still the funniest man in Britain.
Never mind, on with the show, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rowan Atkinson.
And Rose stood up in the room and performed these two sketches that he'd worked out.
I'd always done plays and reviews and things at school, so I invented this sketch about a man who came onto stage dressed in pajamas, carrying a piece of paper, and he proceeded to try to give it away to members of the audience. And some of the sketches I enjoyed doing the most were visual ones.
Formed something very visual, sort of mime thing.
He did one where he was a concert pianist playing Beethoven.
And this strange, surreal, non-speaking character evolved.
And that later became a Mr. Bean sketch. It didn't change, really. It's just that we didn't actually call it Mr. Bean at the time.
Quite unexpectedly, this unfashionably silent comedy was an immediate hit.
Well, 2 years ago, you were unknown, and now you're a star, and people recognize you wherever you go.
Yes.
And just briefly ask you about how you invented him. Do you remember that?
First time we did the character, I'm fairly certain, was 1979.
It just happened because we thought of a joke.
And that was when we had developed, I think, two sketches. One was the beach sketch, and then there's the one in the church.
It was the idea of a man who couldn't stay awake. And it turned into a church sketch, which was in the very first video and program of Mr. Bean.
And we had to give him a name.
What is your name?
Bean. Is it true Mr. Bean was going to be Mr. Cauliflower?
We were thinking Mr. White for a while.
Yes, we were going through the vegetables.
And Mr. Bean seemed to be short,
sharp and to the point.
So we came up with the name of Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean is an anarchist. Unintentionally, I guess, though. He's not trying to create chaos, and he's just trying to make his own life work.
The story of Bean is inextricably linked with the story of Rowan Atkinson.
It's a silent character.
It is.
That
It's
Mr.
a
Bean...
verb. Yeah. It's virtually wordless.
When I first met him, he was nervous. And he was odd.
He was very quiet. He didn't say anything for the entire 2-hour meeting.
I thought we might have a chat. It's a talk show. I thought we might chat about stuff.
Permission to speak?
But you went up there and said nothing and absolutely killed the room. He made everyone laugh for 7 minutes without saying a word.
I love the insularity of Mr. Bean, this sort of self-centeredness.
He can be pretty mean and actually do some truly unpleasant things.
He's a very, very selfish individual.
Do you like Mr. Bean, personally?
No, I don't. I think he's a horrible man, really. I don't like him at all. I think he's very odd and pretty weird and not very nice.
And with this kind of material, you kind of set the example of a new British comedy. They talked about the new John Cleese, the new Benny Hill.
The Charlie Chaplin of the 80s.
I never really noticed. I never, to be honest, never really noticed the comic potential of my face, or at least the extreme, because Mr. Bean obviously does. He does occasionally, pull some very extreme faces, and suddenly I thought, well, this guy looks funny. You start stretching your face in rather peculiar ways.
I like Mr. Bean mainly because he's got a bit of a rubber face.
Really, I didn't really discover my face, if I had to be honest with you, till I was about 20.
Fancy having a son who earns his living pulling funny faces and saying 4-letter words on the telly.
Quack! Wee jock poopong McClop.
Mr. Bean, are you presently on any kind of medication?
Not that I know of.
I don't know what to say about Bean. He's clearly a forced 10 disaster area, but I like him.
I mean, quite a lot of Bean is very extreme, but quite a lot of the stuff that I like the most is when he's just sitting in a chair in a dentist's waiting room with sort of nothing much going on, and just watching him and how he bides his time. When did you first start making people laugh? Because you came from a very unlikely background, actually, for a comic entertainer.
He's a strange mixture and an interesting psychological study. In real life, he's a farmer's son from Newcastle.
So where exactly in Britain are you from?
I was born in the northeast of England, in a place called Newcastle upon Tyne, which is near Scotland, up a bit. Yeah, there's no real show business heritage in my family at all. It's strange, except that my grandfather used to own cinemas and theatres in the northeast of England. But I can assure you, I had a very normal, I had a very normal and caring and very good childhood. I mean, it's not that I ran away from school at the age of 16 to try and become a star.
Now, you led a very academic life.
At Oxford University. It's university education. You can't beat it.
You were in the rarefied atmosphere of research, in fact.
And then I came to Newcastle for 3 years to do electrical engineering at university, and I got my degree in electrical engineering at Newcastle University, and then I went to Oxford to do more electrical engineering. And I was a Master of Science in engineering. It was just as a hobby, really, that I started to do and to write and create in review in particular. 10% of the time was review and 90% of the time was electrical engineering, and then slowly the percentages went like that, and 1 minute it was 40% drama and review and 60% engineering, and then suddenly it tipped 51%. I'd always done plays and reviews and things at school. I remember when I was about 11 or 12 or something, standing up in the school changing rooms and entertaining my fellow pupils by doing something that I can't remember, thank goodness. So maybe myself as a child is sort of what Mr. Bean is based on.
There are two Rowan characters, principally. There's the funny, wibbly little man. There's the absolute bastard, who's the schoolmaster character, or Blackadder.
It's a situation comedy. It's 6 half-hour programs, and it's called The Blackadder. In the first series, he's a prince. In the second series, he's a lord. Third series, he's a butler. And in the fourth series, he's a captain in the British Army in the First World War. Some people who prefer a bit more intellectual content are probably disappointed by most Mr. Bean sketches. I know a lot of people, for instance, who like The Blackadder.
Tally-ho, pip-pip, and Bernard, your uncle.
Which was full of words.
In English we say good morning.
And full of silliness.
I'm anaspeptic, phrasmotic, even compunctuous to have caused you such pericombobulation.
If we live as we do in an educated society, we read books and we enjoy words and we enjoy word play and we enjoy literature.
Go, tally-ho, yibbity-dap and zing-zang spillet.
No, didn't catch any of that.
Making a point of all the extraordinariness and the absurdities of that particular war. Which was the situation in the trenches in northern France in the First World War.
Not, I hasten to add, disrespectful jokes, but just, satirical jokes.
And the sense of hierarchy, which I think is what the Blackadder is all about.
He'd love to move up, and he certainly doesn't want to move down towards his sidekick, Baldrick.
Mr. C. Chapman, Senate Studios, Hollywood, California.
Maybe you would park your talent in Hollywood for a while.
Park my talent in Hollywood? That's the equivalent of parking in the middle of an airfield with bright lights on you from all sides. I'm very difficult to fit in to the Hollywood jigsaw.
The funny little wibbly man finally arrives in America.
He gets a bit of a warm reception at Los Angeles airport and immediately gets on the wrong side of the police.
Carefully take out your weapon.
Bean the movie offered a whole new set of possibilities, and in 1996 it went into production.
Yeah, the first movie in 97, then 2007, and then the cartoon now. We have an animated Mr. Bean. 13 or 14 half hours of Mr. Bean live action.
How would you describe Mr. Bean?
In truth, my really favourite one, just because he's such a horrible person, is Mr. Bean.
He's a character who's furthest away from my own character. Mr. Bean is a child trapped in a man's body. That's how I've always seen it.
Let's just stay here. Don't leave this room till I get back, okay?
If he has any values, then they're the morals of a 9-year-old boy.
What's funny about Mr. Bean, for example, is his complete sort of selfishness.
Children from the age of 3 can enjoy Mr. Bean. People aged 85 can enjoy Mr. Bean. Because it's so simple, it's so manifest. There are no words. There are no literary references. There's nothing subtle about it.
I think it's very clever in as much that it translates worldwide because of the lack of dialogue.
You hear, someone who's doing famine relief in North Africa. They went to the middle of the Sudan where they have no food in this village, but they've got a television and a video, and it was playing Mr. Bean.
Uninhibited by a language barrier, Mr. Bean has become a truly global success and is now watched in over 100 countries around the world.
It's been in 150 countries, I think.
Well, I'm always glad when it's over. I don't really enjoy the shooting.
Filmmaking is a very long, drawn-out and complicated process. I enjoyed the bits before the shooting, and I enjoyed the bits after the shooting.
I'm not at all sure that I enjoy acting because I just find it so worrying and difficult.
I don't really enjoy the shooting, I enjoy the script writing.
I enjoy planning things, I enjoy thinking about things, contributing to the creation of things.
Who makes you fall off your chair with laughing? Who do you really giggle?
The manufacturers of bad furniture. The other thing that really makes me laugh a great deal actually is bad amateur opera.
And what do you do in your spare time? What do you do to relax?
I'm probably at my happiest, most or anything's to do with motor cars. Cars are my great love.
So obviously you do love your cars.
Yes, I do have a great interest in motor cars.
And when I had discovered by then, I suppose, that I can express myself visually, that once I'm asked to tell a story, a comedic story, without words, that I can do it.
It's quite no comic trick, really, which is that you just pick a word out of a sentence and say it in a completely stupid way.
Truth is stranger than fiction. It's just the fact that everyone exaggerates everything.
What's funny about people is what's wrong with them, not what's right with them. Because I don't think any characters that I've ever really played on television or even on stage have ever really been very close to me.
Well, like Love Actually, is a case in point, which was when he asked me to do the small part of the salesman in the shop.
Almost finished.
It was just a sweet, funny little part.
No, I would never have had to do this for Mufasa.
I was so proud, really, in the end, to be part of that movie.
Now, you also did another show for British television over here called Not the 9 O'Clock News.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
You've always had an ambition to do a film.
Yes.
And I understand you've fulfilled that ambition.
Well, yes. Perhaps you'd like to slip into something more comfortable. But I've always wanted to play a part in a James Bond film.
You've been in a Bond film?
Yeah, in the very last Sean Connery James Bond
Never
film.
Say Never?
Never Say Never Again. I always wanted to be the man who said, "Not so fast, Mr. Bond."
You wouldn't have any ambitions to play the part of Bond himself?
He used to be called Richard Latham, and he was a character in some commercials that we made for Barclaycard in the 90s. Latham, Richard Latham. We thought Richard Latham was a bit dull, but Johnny English had a certain... And the critical joke about Johnny English is that he's not as good as he thinks he is. Because the problem is that his confidence is greater than his skill. He is manifestly underqualified for the job that he has agreed to do.
Do you do all of your own stunts?
I do what I can. I mean, the problem is, I have my limitations. I was never an athlete, because I'm not a cyclist, I'm not fit, I'm not an athlete.
One of the biggest comedy stars in the world. You can see his show Mr. Bean on public television, or his 2 new videos, The Amazing Adventures of Mr. Bean, Volumes 1 and 2.
Where will Mr. Bean's escapades end, do you think?
Have you drawn a line under here? No more Mr. Bean?
I doubt that he will reappear. There does come a point when you feel as though you've done most of what you want to do with him. But, you must never say never again. Of course, they hadn't a clue who he was. Particularly as he spoke in this very strange way.
He didn't say anything.
Without saying a word.
Lack of dialogue.
He was very quiet.
Never Say Never.
There are no words.
Well, that's enough from me. I leave you in the capable hands of Dennis Toohey, and I hope you enjoy all the riches that this channel intends to bring you in the years ahead. Thank you.